Stampers, this is super awesome stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wisconsin, USA. I'm excited to be doing my first YouTube live video. I hope it's going out to my channel. I've had my channel for many years and I have quite a few videos on it. And I started loading more videos recently within the last few years. I took a step back when I was doing more in-person events, and now I'm getting more back onto the YouTube. I am on a virtual cruise this week, and a tip from a networking session was that I could do YouTube lives without having 1,000 subscribers. So here I am. I'm going to demonstrate a hand stamped greeting card. So I'm going to flip the camera around and put you on my table, and we'll get started with that demonstration. All right, and I need to strap you into my camera stand. If anybody is watching live, please add a comment in the chat because I am testing out how this whole YouTube live things work. I've done many Facebook lives. I've done many pre-recorded YouTube videos, so I'm familiar with how the whole thing should roll along. But since this is my very first YouTube live, I'm not sure exactly when it will show up on my YouTube feed or when people will be able to see it. All right, so here is the card that I am demonstrating today. And I'm going to go to my YouTube channel real quick to see if anybody is on, or maybe I can type a question or a comment. And let's see here. I'm going to go to videos. Oh my gosh. I see me. Yay. Oh my gosh. I am so happy. Thank you, Bruno Bertucci, for coming in the networking session last night, and Kylie for being in the networking session and sharing this tip that I could be live without having to do streaming software. This makes my video demonstration life so much easier. All right, so this is the card that we will be demonstrating today. And again, if you are watching, please add a comment in that chat because I need to see how this all works out on YouTube. All right, so I decided to feature the sunprints suite because I love this gorgeous paper. Now, blue is not my favorite color, although I love purples. But this blue, I've always loved the cobalt blue. We used to have a cobalt blue. We now have Pacific Point. This has got night of navy tones in it. I love it. It's just so bright and vibrant, contrasting against those whites. So I wanted to show you a close-up of all the papers. See, I've made short work of that pattern. I've already made quite a few cards with that one. Here's this pattern, and it is great for scrapbook layouts. So it's 12 by 12 inch size. So this is the front side, and that's the back side. This is the pattern I'm featuring today, I think. No, I'm featuring that one, I think. They're similar in look and feel and color. This one's a little darker than the past one, the back one back there. This one's got splatters. We are featuring this on my card today with the stripes. This one is more neutral. Now, I am running out of my color, my gray granite cardstock. So when I do that, I tend to go to my designer series paper and find a neutral pattern and stamp on that. So just keep in mind that this pattern might be kind of blah. Not a lot of going on with it, but you can certainly use this side to stamp greetings and focal points on it. And then this is the last pattern. So today I am using, you can see the color differences. Hang on a second. Am I using this pattern? Oh, I am using this pattern. Okay, I thought I was using the other one. Let's pull this one in. This one has more like feathery ferns on it. Feathery eucalyptus leaves. This one's has got a more defined frondy look to it, and that's the one I'm using today. The ombre look kind of threw me off there. All right, so let's get started. And all right, there's our sample card. Here's my little cruise badge. So we get a little pin when we attend events, and that's the kind of the logo. We've got this new ink colors in there, and it's got a tropical feel to it. Anyway, I think it's a really cool pin. even though I don't really like pink either. It's got more darker pinkish tones. I don't like that hot cotton candy pink. All right, so I am using the Night of Navy ink pad. And again, if anybody is watching, give me a shout out. Add a comment to that chat. All right, Night of Navy ink. Now, I go to my scrap pile and I use my scraps. So here are the scraps I'm going to be stamping on. And I'm having two different pieces of scraps. One is gray granite and one is smoky slate. So I am using the gray granite, which is what coordinates with this suite. But smoky slate is kind of a cooler color. And I use that for a little bit of a contrast. So don't be afraid to mix and match your neutrals. All right, so, and the reason why I'm doing it on two pieces of paper is because I could certainly fit them on there. When I put them through my stamp and cut emboss machine, it's better to have your dies separated a little bit, otherwise they might jump. So they might react with each other and move around your plate. And then for the best paper use, let's tuck that tip up there. All right, and I'm going to set that aside. I've got a few more things to stamp. We've got the inside piece. Oh, Tracy says live is working. Oh my gosh, Tracy, this is like a total game changer. Yeah, all you do is find that little plus button on your YouTube channel on your phone, and then fill in a few things, and you're live, and that's awesome. So I will be doing way more YouTube lives. Let's just put this one in here for contrast. Than Facebook lives. Now that I know that YouTube, this is the opportunity that is presenting itself for me today. All right, so that's going to be the inside piece. I've got a whole mess of stuff over here. We have to stamp the heartfelt thank you. So the stamps come from the Sunprint suite, and this is the Nature's Prints stamp set. And I'm going to pull it in because I want to point out what I love about this stamp set. We've got words that are smaller, of course, harder to read with aging eyes, and they're straight lines. So I particularly look for stamps, sentiment images that have cursive writing, because cursive means you don't have to be perfectly straight for your stamping. It can be a little bit off, and nobody will know the difference. So I love that the sentiment's got a mix of the font styles. All right, I think I'm done with the ink pad. Night of Navy. I'm gonna shut that up so I don't get ink anywhere on my work area. All right, what else do I need to do here? Oh, die cutting. So one little trick you can kind of see up here. I keep all of my white and very vanilla scraps right at the top of my mat. Currently, this is my white pile of scraps because I leave that pile right at the top of my mat. So since this has got white accents in the pattern paper, I thought, why not use a couple of white scraps to die cut some of these fun shapes. Now these fun shapes, there are two of those, two of each of those smaller shapes in the die set. So when I processed through my images for my sample, I processed both of those, two sets of each, and got these out. So again, 4 little scraps can actually go in the waste bin. Yay me, love using my scraps. All right, so let's assemble a few things. Let's fold this back. And I like to use a bone folder because otherwise this tends to pop up at me. All right, now this is going to be the inside piece. So my inside, it might look a little small, but it is a piece that is cut economically. So I cut it an 8.5 by 11 piece in 6 about equal pieces. Now I say about equal because it's an 8.5 by 11, and you cut it to 4 1/4 on that short side on the 8.5 side, and then the 2 longer pieces that are left, you cut those in about 3 equal pieces. So it works out to be 3.67 repeating 7 for your measurement. So I've got a notch set at my paper trimmer where I where I line all those up and cut those out. So it's not a perfect cut. All right, bring this back in. So we're going to start building the front. Now, I got so excited with my design this morning, I think because I just really love the stark contrast of the darker Native Navy and Pacific Point against that gray granite. I didn't cut that down. So my designer series paper is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And since I didn't cut it down, I'm going to do something different. This is a technique from years gone by. Might even date me. Before we had fancy paper snips or paper cutters with decal edges, and yes, I still have my decal edge scissors from Stampin' Up. I do pull it out occasionally because I love the shabby chic look. Before we had that, before we had fancy punches, before we had dies that had fancy edges, it was all the rage to do tearing. So we're going to tear that on the top. My next layer, let's pull this in, is a scrap layer along with a piece of this pattern paper. Now I didn't particularly like this pattern on the back. I like the stripes, but for some reason, and I usually like splotches, but for some reason these splotches weren't singing to me this morning. So we're going to use the stripes instead. And since I'm working off of a scrap pile, my scrap bags, I don't have a full mat behind this strip. So what I'm going to do is take my tape runner and run some tape along both sides. Actually, just one side. One side will be easier to do. And then I'm going to line it up on that left side edge of the pattern paper and that gray granite strip. And then just custom cut it off. And whoever receives this card will not know that they don't have a full mat behind there. And I tend to get a lot of these strips. I like to try to use them up, these neutral ones, for sentiments. But for some reason I have a ton of these gray granite and smoky slate ones. So that's a good use to make a border instead of cutting into a full piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. All right, so just grab your tape runner and place that down. And now you can grab a tape runner, or liquid glue works here too. And I'm opting for liquid glue so that it just kind of squishes out. It's easier to control than on a smaller piece of paper than a tape runner. So that's going to go about towards the bottom third. All right, done with that. Here is this, there is that. We've got our ribbon. And I need to die cut. I need to try to find these. So I was thinking about doing the die cutting before the live, but guess what? My scrap pile did not allow it. So I need to step away and do some die cutting. I do have the new, oh, I shouldn't say new. I do have the Stampin' Up cut and emboss machine. And I don't have the magnetic plate though. They just got those in, and I haven't placed an order for mine yet. So we're going to place that on there. And then let's see. Yep, that can go on there. So I'm not placing them on my cutting mat, my clear cutting mat, straight into the machine. I'm giving it a little bit of an edge to catch. And then I've got some Post-it notes. So this is a very old trick too. Before we had magnetic plates to hold those framelits to the paper, you just take a Post-it note, put it over the edge of the cutting mat, over the framelit, and it holds the framelit in place while you're processing it through your embossing machine. And clear cutting mat on top, and then I'm going to run it through. I'm not going to bring the machine into the screen, so you're going to have to talk among. Okay, and that's how quick that was to do that. My machine is just on my table, kind of behind me and to the left. Okay, so you can see how that works. And this I brought in the screen is just a vent cover, a magnetic vent cover. And I keep one of those near my embossing machine, and so I can put my dies on there so they don't accidentally get whisked away into the trash or stuck in a paper pile. Paper pile is actually what happens with mine. They get stuck in a paper pile because I pile papers over there as I am creating. Okay, now's the fun part. We get to start layering up. I had 2 of those. Guess what? In all of my paper piles, I might have gotten, they're here. I did 4 of them. Let's see if they're underneath there. Oh, nope, I don't see them. All right, well, they will come around and I will just tuck them in when we're done. All right, so my first layer, first thing that you want to do, I'm making a swag. So I wanted to, you layer it out and see where you want all your pieces. The fern was going to be my bottom one, my bottom layer. The white longish thing's the next, and then this multi-berry flower and sprig of greenery is on top of that. I tucked one of these behind that, so we're going to start with that tucking first. Because it's going to tuck right here. Grab that. And it's just going to tuck off. All right, so there's that. Now, this is the next one. And when you tuck your ends behind something, like it's going to be tucked behind the sentiment tag, you don't totally have to get glue everywhere, every little spot. Okay, and then when I find this right here, we will attach it over there. My next layer is going to be some ribbon. So this is the gray granite shimmer ribbon. And I'm going to attach it with a tiny strip of tear and tape at an angle. That will also secure those ends down underneath the swag. All right, and all I did was, instead of just tying a bow, we're just going to do, I don't know what this is called, laying down the ribbon. And then we're going to just have the tails be cut the same way instead of opposite ways. So both of the tails, the longer end is toward me and the shorter end is towards the top of the card. Now there's a lot of thickness there, so I prefer that my greetings kind of pop up a little bit when I have a lot of thickness. So I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals, and this is usually a full sheet. It just says I use them, I tear off the backer sheet. All right, so I need some mini dimensionals down here and kind of on this corner. I don't need it where that thickness is of everything else. And you could add just a tiny bit of, oh, I'm not on a flat surface there to roll. Add just a tiny bit of adhesive so it's not going anywhere. All right, like there. The last thing, the last little embellishment is the 2021-2023 in color opal rounds. Those are new in the catalog. So at first glance, all these colors, a yellow, this looks like a purple to me, a very light purple, pink, and 2 colors of greens. They don't color coordinate, but one thing I like about our self-adhesive embellishments is you can flip this back. It's secured with some tape in the center. You can take your embellishment to your card and see if you like it or not. And when it is behind the gray and close to the blue, the navy, these strips that look like purple automatically change to blue. So let's grab my take your pick tool. I added one in the bottom left, kind of tucked it over here, and one, the smaller one, up here. So I had it kind of going off the point. I might actually tuck it in a little closer because my ribbon is up a little higher, so we're filling in that space right there. So the only thing that I need to do is find this little die cut piece that's probably in my mess of designer stories paper over there. And there is my finished card. So very bright and pretty. I've got 2 thank you cards now that I can mail out to anybody who places an order today. And before I log off, I will do a catalog tour. So I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so I sell all the products that I feature in my video demonstrations. And these products are sold in our brand new annual catalog, which runs May 2022 to April 2023. And I'll show you where all the products are. So the paper and the dies and the stamp set are from the Sunprints Suite collection on page 90. So these are all of the fabulous concept art designs. And here you see the stamp set and the die. So you can purchase the stamp set and the die individually, but if you purchase them using the bundle item number that's shown here, the 158801, you will get 10% off the individual prices. I'm going to pull in my host code. I forgot to put that on my mat for my whole video demonstration. If you place an order with me using that host code, I get the credit for your order, and you get an emailed PDF idea file from me. All right, my host codes change every month, and those host codes are found on my blog at superawesomestamper.com. All right, the pattern, or not the pattern paper, the cardstock that I used was the Smoky Slate for the base. I also used Smoky Slate and, I used Gray Granite for the base, and Gray Granite and Smoky Slate for the stamping of the foliage, and that's Gray Granite right there with the sentiment. I also use Basic White, which is towards the bottom of the page. And then here is a closer look of the pattern paper that's included in the pack. You get 2 sheets of each, 6 double-sided sheets in a package. So nicely packaged for customers, so you get a lot of variety in one package. Those opal rounds that I used as accent pieces are number 4 on page 142. The Gray Granite Shimmer ribbon, which is nice and shimmery, adds a nice little elegant touch to the card. It's on page 145 right there. And then in the back, we've got all of our dies shown again with a different concept artist sample. So it's on page 165, and it shows you can purchase the die separately or use that bundle item number. And I totally recommend using the bundle item number. And if you have a host party, an online party, or an in-person party with me that reaches host levels, it's great to purchase the bundles with your host dollars and with your half-price item selection. And that's it. So my host code for the next few weeks is CMNF7JTH. That host code is found on my blog at superawesomestamper.com. And here is the stamp set up close, and then the die set, of course, with the dies that I used to create my die cut pieces. And if you have any questions, you can leave a comment in the chat and I'll get back to you, or add a comment to my blog at superawesomestamper.com. Contact me through my blog. And my online store is sjsinks.stampinup.net. Make sure you like and subscribe to my video, like my video and subscribe to my channel so you're notified when I load new content to my channel, whether it's a pre-recorded YouTube video or a YouTube live. And we'll stamp with you soon. And thanks again to Bruno and Kylie Bertucci for letting me know I can stream YouTube live with just my phone. Bye.